Good evening, everyone. This is Will Robertson here from Dawes Palace, and I want to discuss today's tragic events of Parkland, Florida. Now, I was looking over various stories, most notably CNN's, only because, yes, we all know it's fake news, but at the same time, it is best to go through what CNN says regarding any event, and let's break it down. Now, in my humble opinion, today's events were nothing less than well, a planned attack. Because, as we should know by now, all school shootings are not coincidences, because coincidences do not exist, are not random, are not unexpected, and they are all a part of a larger attempt, larger attack on our liberties, on our freedoms, on who we are as a people. Now, today's attacker has been named, and he's still alive apparently. His name is Nicholas de Jesus Cruz. He's 19, born in September of 1998. Apparently, he was a former student of Douglas High School, where he was killed apparently up to 17 people at this point, possibly more. Now, the name of the school is Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Let me start there. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Who was she? Well, that's doing a Wikipedia search. I found that Marjorie Stoneman Douglas lived to the ripe old age of 108, and she was best known as an Everglades conservation advocate. She wanted to protect the Everglades there in Florida. Well, fine and dandy. The Everglades are a beautiful place. I've never actually been to the Everglades myself, but from the pictures I've seen and stuff I've heard, it's a beautiful place. All well and good. She wanted to defend the environment there. Fine. Okay. Well, let's look into her background according to Wikipedia. She was born April 7th, 1890 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, a child of Frank Bryant Stoneman. I didn't look into him, but there's probably something to know about that guy as well. Song of Hiawatha, and let's see, from there, she and her parents embarked on a cruise from Tampa to Havana, so she had been to Cuba. Interesting. And when she was young, her parents separated. Yeah, well, that's sad, and that happens. Her mother apparently went crazy. Her father disappeared and then came back after a while. She had a writing career, freelance writer, and then took up the cause of the Everglades. Um, she was approached by a publisher to contribute to the Rivers of America series by writing about the Miami River. Never actually heard of it, but okay. And so she had some activism, suffragette, and all that good stuff, blah, blah, blah. And years later, she died. Okay, well, so she's the namesake for this school that is near Pompano Beach, school in Parkland, Florida. I'll close those tabs because they're not needed. So we see here that this school, and I'm using what three words because it's a site that I actually really like. And the three words, if you want to look up the school on the site, the three words you can use are acrobat, succeed, monopoly. So acrobat.succeed.monopoly will get you the location of the school. And it's north of the Sawgrass Expressway, a toll road, also known as Highway 869 or Route 14. And, oh, no, that's exit numbers. I'm sorry, those are exit numbers. So, exit number 14. Now, is that important? Well, let's think about this. Today's the 14th day of the second month. So, exit 14. Well, we got not a coincidence, because again, they aren't real. But we have gosh darn it, I can't remember the word, but a conjunction there, an alignment of numbers. Now, why was today chosen? Which the 14th day of February, we all know, is also known as St. Valentine's Day. And I'm not going to go into the history of St. Valentine's Day because it's not needed. You can do that yourself. Suffice it to say that this is not unexpected, that this is, you know, a good day for people to die. Only because love is in the air. Love is all around. And we need to, end up shooting each other. Now, you know me. You know I'm staunchly pro-gun. I'm staunchly pro-life. Not pro-life. Well, pro-life in terms of, keeping everyone alive, for the most part. But I'm also anti-gun law, strongly anti-gun law. And what's happening right now, after, like, as in every event of this type, is we end up calling for more gun laws, more gun laws. Let's restrict the use of guns. Now, apparently, this kid, this 19-year-old, used a AR type weapon. Now, again, we know that AR is not a type, it is a brand name, but let's not go into details there. That's not important, right? So, now the things I found odd in this article on CNN that I wanted to point out. Apparently, Parkland, with a population of 31,000 in 2016, was named Florida's safest city last year in 2017, according to an analysis by the Washington-based National Council for Home Safety and Security, a home security industry trade association. The South Florida city had 7 reported violent crimes and 186 property crimes the previous year, according to the analysis. And Douglas High School has an enrollment of 3,100 students in the 15-16 year, according to the National Center for Education Statistics. Excuse me. So, 3,100 people. Now, let's see here. If we, I should have. Okay. Not important. And I was going to add 8, 6, and 9, but, doing it in my head, 8, 6, and 9 would be, that's 25, right? I'll check my numbers there. 9 and 8, yeah, that's 25. 5 and 2 is 7. So what do we get? 1 and 4 is 5, that's 7. The numbers do add up here. Now, they don't, not the same number, 7, and it's not equal to 5, obviously, but it does mean something. 17 dead, at least. That number is likely to go up, apparently, because children were killed on site, and then a few off site, according to the sheriff. I just find it very suspicious the way things happen today. This is not a standard event. This is not the way that these events normally play out. Normally, the shooter ends up dead, whether it be of a law enforcement bullet or of his own bullet. That these people usually end up dead. So why is Cruz allowed to stay alive? Now, we know he's obviously in custody, as we see in this picture, and the reason he's in a hospital gown, apparently, is because he was taken in to the hospital for a checkup after, I should point out, he was captured. Now, they claim he was running away from the scene. Now, I've heard a story while listening to the Chris Daniels show. I heard Chris or Philip mention how apparently he was trying to blend in, Cruz, he was trying to blend in with the students, but he was not able to, apparently, because he held his gun out or something. Somebody saw his gun and, that's him. And so he took off running? Really? I question that story. I question the validity of everything the media says. I question the validity of every aspect of this story. It does not add up. It really does not. It makes no sense. Now, I'm trying to think. what previous shooter has been captured alive and has been taken to police, to the jail, in a um, hospital gown because apparently his clothes were taken in and are considered evidence. I can't think of a previous case where this has happened like this. I really can't. I'm not sure that a previous case has happened like this. It's This is a very suspicious case, and you know we're going to be learning things over the coming days and weeks, just like we learn things over the coming days and weeks and months of previous shootings. But one thing I'd like to mention, and think something that came to mind and has come to mind in previous cases, but especially today, is why don't we put on a map of the U.S. for the last, say, 20 years, maybe longer, but just for sake of a time frame, um, the last 20 years. So that'd be 1998 in this at this point. Well, how about we go back? Well, how about we just start it at the year 2000? So start the year 2000, this millennium, however you want to say it. And we look at that map of the U.S. and we mark down on that map of the U.S. the location of each and every supposed school shooting. They're all false flag events, as we know, but let's just go with it. Let's mark down on that map the location of each and every school shooting. Now, the town, and if depending on the size of the map, obviously the standard wall map, what's that, like 3 by 4 or whatever, you would just do the town that it happened in. But in some cases, maybe if you do a larger map, you can get more specific, in the specific location within town. Whatever point. The point is, whatever size map it is, the bigger the better, obviously. Mark down, put a pin in the location of each and every shooting for the last 18 years, including today's. And let's see what design pops up. Now, I haven't done it myself because I don't have a big enough map to do it. But I would love to see that happen. Just an idea that I've had. Every time I hear of a school shooting, I think, let's pin that on a map and see what it looks like now. Let's see if if there's any X's on that map. Let's see what lines are drawn by connecting those dots. Now, again, who's to say how we should connect them? Now, that's just it. Do you connect them by date they occurred? So in order that they occurred. So boom, 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 so on. Or do you connect them randomly? But then you can't do that because everyone would have their own way of connecting them. So that wouldn't make sense, right? So I guess the word I should have used earlier was chronological. Do you connect them chronological? Do you connect them alphabetical? And if alphabetical, then by what name? The last name of the school, the first name of the school, last name of the shooter, last name of one of the victims. Again, alphabetical would get more complicated. But that's just my idea. Is putting these on. I'm sure somebody's done that. If you have, show me the map. Show me the map. I would love to see it because I mean, even if they're not connected, I mean, no lines on the map, just the pins. Let's start there, and we'll worry about lines later. I'm just saying. For the last 18 years, put the pins in the map, and if you want to, just go back further, maybe another 5 years further, maybe to 95, to 1990, to 85, to 80, however far back you want to go. I was just saying 2000, why not? So that's my idea. That's my suggestion, and as I wrote here on my Evernote post, and I will publish this on. I will copy this and publish it, or just copy the link into Twitter, you can follow me at Riker17 and also at TWRS Radio. TWRS Radio, The Will Robertson Show. That's my uh, website, twrsradio.com, for my upcoming uh, podcast that I'm restarting. So, oh yeah, I wanted to mention, I'm still new to this whole thing, but I wanted to mention the fire drill from earlier today. Apparently, these students were confused at first because apparently there was a fire drill at their school, at Douglas High School, in the morning, and then apparently Cruz pulled the fire alarm, encouraging, to get the kids out so he would have, well, as the authorities claim, so he'd have more uh, victims to shoot at. Now, if I were going to shoot up a school, and I'm not, that's not me, that's not how I operate, but thinking as a uh, villain, thinking as a evildoer, and if I were, you know, just plugging it out there, just putting it out there for y'all, and I'm sure, you have a brain, you've thought of things too. Um, Pulling the fire alarm, encouraging everyone to scatter, that's a great way to happen upon victims. But these students are not victims. Do not call them victims. They are. Um, I was going to go somewhere with that. Damn, my brain just left me. Anyways, let's go on to a different thing. Um, if I were to launch an attack, I would definitely plan it well in advance. Now, would I want somebody to help me with that? Most likely. And in this case, and as in most cases of school shootings, there is multiple, not necessarily multiple gunmen, but there are multiple people involved. Usually the gunman, and then his helper, or what's the proper term? The Gosh darn it, the word's not coming to me. The person who is there designated to see to it that this mind numbed, mind controlled, brainwashed individual carries out the task that he or she is given. Now, again, mostly men, males, but on occasion it's a woman. But that doesn't happen very often because apparently women are less susceptible to mind control or whatever the case may be. I don't know why. That one I can't figure out, but I'm sure it'll be figured out eventually. But the part I find most troubling is how this happens at exit 14 on the 14th day. I mean, that conjunction of numbers says something. Now, again, our death toll is 17, not 14. Now, it would have been really, really interesting had the death toll been 14. Now, it was. Obviously, at one moment, it was 14. But then they added 3. Okay, if we go back to the article here, I remember. Where did it say? 17, yeah. 12 were killed inside the building and 2 died outside. So we got 14 on site. So there are the 14. There are 14 dead on the campus. Now, it doesn't say outside, how far outside, but, well, okay, I guess the 2 died outside is referring to 1 died in the street, okay, those are the 3 others to get 17. So, you do have 14 dead. The 17 is 3 additional. So, 1 died in the street. Now, which street is that? I wish they would say which street. And 2 died at the hospital. Now, I've always been suspicious about hospitals. Not exactly I don't exactly trust hospitals. Yeah, I do not. I do not fully trust hospitals, so you know, I know that they have this Hippocratic oath, and mentioning that, listening to the Chris Daniels show earlier, um, and Chris played a segment of one of the news conferences, one of the early ones held today, and one of the reporters shouted out a very peculiar question, or a question I found very peculiar. Momentary, excuse me. A reporter shouted out a very, what I found to be a very suspicious question regarding the Hippocratic Oath. He asked, I think it was the sheriff that was given the press conference, and oh no, it was outside the hospital. Because again, I was in the car listening, so I couldn't see. But yeah, apparently the reporters were asking the doctors, or one of the doctors who was given the presser, uh, questions, and one of the reporters shouted out a question about the Hippocratic Oath regarding. Now, again, we got to remember that Cruz, the shooter, was not injured. He had no injuries. He was taken into the hospital only as a CYA for the sheriff's department, basically. Not because he was injured, but because that's just I don't know if it was standard procedure, but I guess to ensure that he wasn't injured, I suppose. But anyways, so the reporter shouted out, "How can you treat?" Now, again, I'm paraphrasing what the reporter said. I don't remember exactly how he phrased it, but along the lines of, uh, "How does the Hippocratic Oath apply in this case?" Now, I'm not a big fan of the Hippocratic Oath, but that's a stupid question. That's a stupid question, honestly. That is an insanely stupid question to ask a doctor. Because apparently the reporter was asking in relation to, treating the gunman, Cruz, knowing that this guy Cruz has killed people. How can you maintain your Hippocratic oath to treat him? And the doctor fired back, because that's what we do, or something along those lines, and then wrapped up the presser after that, because apparently he didn't want to answer any other questions, which, I'm sure that pissed him off, that question. I can understand that. Fine. But why would the reporter ask that strange question? I have never heard a reporter ask that question at a press conference before regarding any other living shooters. Now, there haven't been very many, so it hasn't happened very often, but seriously, think about it. When was the last time a reporter asked about the Hippocratic Oath regarding a shooter to one of the doctors? Um, I, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's happened before. Maybe it's been asked before. I don't know. I haven't watched every press conference, so I don't know. But I found that to be very not disturbing, and not the least bit disturbing. Because nothing's disturbing to me. It's just strange, odd, a very odd question. But it is what it is. Reporters do what they do, and pressers are a waste of time, if you ask me. They really are. Um, so the student, Caden Hanafi, said, "It's really a blessing to still be alive." Blah blah blah. Yeah, whatever. Um, yeah, and apparently Governor Scott calls the shooting pure evil and orders flags at half staff. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't believe flags should be at half staff. These children, these students, whomever was killed, these 17 or more, they don't deserve to have the flag at half staff. No, they're not heroes. They're 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 nobodies. In death, they're still nobodies. I mean, I can go off on a tangent here regarding the lowering of the flag and peace be with you, and pray for their souls and all that bull crap. Um, I'm not gonna go into it right now because this has already gone on long, and I I'm taking this a lot longer than I should have. But wow, it's a half hour almost. Didn't realize I'd gone that long. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. There's more to the story than what's on the surface. That's all I can say. There's a lot more. There always is. There always is, folks. There's always more to the story. And I just suggest you do your own research. Um, use what three words to find the locations. Um, I love this site. What three words? And again, I just learned about it recently from Twit, the Twit network, uh, by chance. Um, I use it on my phone all the time, actually, almost, well, frequently. You know what I mean. And it's not an ad for it. I'm just saying that I enjoy the service it provides, and you know, finding locations by what three words. It's cool. It's very cool. So check me out online. I'm at Riker17 uh, on Twitter. My websites are Riker17.com and TWRSradio.com, at TWRS Radio on Twitter as well. So check me out, and I'll have more to say in the next great briefing. So I'm glad you tuned in. This is Will, out.